Disney Lorcana, the hit TCG from Ravensburger Games, lets players explore a vast world of some of the most iconic characters from Disney's many classic stories, including original characters like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, to more modern entries such as Big Hero 6 and Lilo and Stitch. For those who may be interested in getting into this fantastical card game and don't know where to start, I'm Nick with TCG HQ, and today we'll be taking a look at exactly what you need to know in order to learn how to play. Disney Lorcana is a competitive card game in which you and your opponent take a deck of 60 cards and compete against each other, playing characters and questing in a race to get 20 lore. Whoever meets this elusive number first wins the game. But before we learn how to do that, let's go ahead and get an understanding of what the cards in this game look like, and then get our play space ready so we can start learning how to play. First thing you'll need is a deck of some kind. I have with me one of my favorite starter decks for Disney Lorcana, the Feathered and Feared Amethyst Steel deck from the 7th Lorcana set, Arcasia's Island. Amethyst Steel is the ink combination for this deck, and I think now is a good time to go ahead and go over what that means. In Disney Lorcana, there are 5 different types of cards: character cards, item cards, location cards, song cards, and action cards. All of these cards have magical ink types associated with each of them. There are 6 total inks that you'll find on cards: Amber, Amethyst, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire, and Steel. Most cards will only have one type of ink, but some will have 2, and these are called dual ink cards. Don't worry, you play those exactly the same way as you do others. Each color has different strategies associated with them. For example, Amethyst draws a lot of cards, and Sapphire loves to play item cards. In Lorcana, your deck may have 2 inks maximum present among the cards in your deck. You'll notice that any starter deck you pick up from your local card store has 2 types of ink for this reason. This includes dual ink cards. Any cards you want to play that have 2 inks on them must be the 2 inks among the rest of your cards. Along with this, you can only have up to 4 copies of any card in your deck. Alright, let's go ahead and crack open our starter deck. In a starter deck, you'll get your 60 card deck, a punch-out sheet that includes damage counters as well as a lore tracker, a rules reference book, a paper playmat that we'll go ahead and set up in a moment, and a booster pack. We'll be using everything but this booster pack. Go ahead and set that aside to open later. We won't be opening ours on camera, but you might just get something shiny. When you begin playing Lorcana, set the lore counter you got in your starter deck on the bottom of your lore track that was provided on your playmat, like so, at the 0 mark. This is what you'll use to keep track of how much lore you're gaining. You're going to go ahead and give your deck a quick shuffle, set it down near you, and draw 7 cards. We'll go ahead and do that. 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's our opening 7. Let's go ahead and see what we got. In your opening hand, you're going to want to take a look and make sure that at least 3 to 4 of the cards that you drew have this golden ring in the top left of the card. The number itself inside the gold ring is how much ink you have to use to play it, but that golden ring represents a card that can also be turned into ink. We'll explain that in a moment. If you see cards that have too high of a cost or not enough cards with that golden ring that you can turn into ink, go ahead and take the cards that don't fit the bill, place them at the bottom of your deck, and draw the same amount to your hand. For example, I don't want this 6 cost card, so we'll go ahead and send this to the bottom of our deck and draw 1 more. That goes to the bottom. We draw 1 more, and we'll go ahead and put this Jafar card into our hand. This is how you mulligan in Lorcana. After that, the deck is reshuffled, and you're ready to go. Alright, it looks like we have a few good cards in our hand that we can play and turn into ink, so we will go ahead and walk through how you play cards. In Lorcana, the first player in the game doesn't get to draw a card to start the turn, but normally each turn begins with us readying our cards and drawing one from our deck. Each turn, you're able to play 1 card with the golden ring in the top left face down in front of you as an ink resource. You do this by showing the card to your opponent so that they can verify that it has the ink symbol in the top left and placing it face down perpendicular to you like this. Next, we can go ahead and use this ink to play a card. Let's take a look at what cards we have available in our hand for 1 ink. Okay. Alright. It looks like we have 2 options that we can play. Hey Hey Rambling Rooster from Moana, and Pain Impudent Imp from Hercules. Let's go ahead and play Hey Hey because he's just so adorable. We're going to go ahead and turn our face down ink card 90 degrees, like so, signifying that we're exerting it to pay for a card, and we'll play Hey Hey right above the resource row. In this game, you can't really use the characters that you play immediately because their ink is still drying. That said, some characters will have abilities that activate when you play them, and you resolve those immediately. Those are a variety of abilities known as triggered abilities in Lorcana, which happen most frequently when a character is played and are not subject to ink drying. We'll put the characters who are still waiting for their ink to dry just above our resource row here, and when we start our next turn, we'll move them up as such to the top of our playmat, showing that their ink is dried and we can use them. Let's go ahead and take a look at Hey Hey's stats here. As we've already established, he costs 1 ink in order to play him. You can see his name, as well as his subtitle right below. You can see his ink type directly below that, which is steel. If you look to the right, you can see his character types, which is Dreamborn and Ally. Some cards in the game care about what types a character has, but we're not going to go over those specific effects. It's just important for you to notice it. It has 1 lore pip in the bottom right. We'll get to that in a minute. And then on the far right of the card in the center is a 2 strength and 2 willpower stat line. We'll go over those as well. Let's take a look at the start of the turn procedures. In this game, we'll play full turns, passing back and forth between our opponent. So, because I started and played Hey Hey, we would then pass to our opponent, they'll get a chance to put down an ink and play a card, and then they'll pass their full turn back to us, and we'll begin again. The beginning of the turn is called the beginning phase, where we begin the turn with a 3-step process. Ready, set, and draw. When we ready, we turn each card we control upright, readying them, and move our characters we played last turn up to the top of our play area, signifying that their ink is dried. The set portion of this is when certain effects happen, but often nothing really happens here. Finally, when we draw 1 card from our deck like so, and we'll put that card into our hand. Since our Hey Hey's ink has finished drying, there's a few things that we can go ahead and do with them. Quest for lore, challenge an enemy or opposing exerted character, use an ability, or move to a location card. We can go ahead and explain these. On your turn, your dried characters can exert themselves by turning them 90 degrees and quest. When you quest, you add an amount of lore equal to the lore pips on the bottom right of the card as seen here. Because Hey Hey has 1 lore pip, you'll add 1 to your lore counter like so. There we go. You'll need 20 to win the game, but 1 is a good start. Now, let's go ahead and talk about challenging characters. If your opponent has an exerted character, and we have a readied character whose ink has finished drying, we can choose to challenge that exerted character with ours. Let's say, for example, our opponent has an exerted Queen of Hearts that they used to quest on their last turn, and we have a Hey Hey readied. We don't want that Queen of Hearts to stick around, so we can choose to turn our Hey Hey 90 degrees, exerting it, and challenge the Queen of Hearts with our character. We then take a look at the 2 numbers to the right of their character's name, the first value being the strength, and the second value being the willpower. During a challenge, we apply the strength value as damage counters to each character. Since Hey Hey has 2 strength, 2 damage will go onto the Queen of Hearts like so. 1 and 2. And since the Queen of Hearts currently has 1 strength, we will put 1 damage counter on our Hey Hey. Should there ever be an equal or greater amount of damage on a character to its willpower, it is immediately banished and sent to the discard. Those damage counters are persistent and will not leave these characters until they are banished or the damage is healed in some way. Alright, we've gone over characters questing and challenging. Now let's go ahead and go over another type of action known as moving to a location, and in doing so, we'll talk about another card type, locations. Our starter deck here doesn't have any location cards, so I'll go ahead and grab one that's handy and use it as an example. The one I have here is Winter Camp Medical Tent. Note that this card is not in our deck's colors, but we're going to go ahead and use it as an example anyway. You'll also notice that it is horizontal instead of vertical, which is a way of making them stand out from other cards in the play area. This card has an ink cost of 3, so in order to play it, we'll go ahead and exert 3 of our ink cards so that we can play it, and we'll play it in the top right of our play area. These locations can't quest or challenge, but they do have unique abilities we can take advantage of. On a location card, we can see two different numbers in the same line as the name. The number on the right is its willpower, which functions the same as the willpower on a character. Your opponents can choose to challenge locations with their characters and apply damage equal to the character's strength to the location. Once it has more damage on it than its willpower, the location is banished. That said, let's take a look at the left number here. This number is how much ink we have to pay to move our characters to the location. We'll go ahead and pay our last remaining ink to move Hey Hey to this location. Having characters at locations very often give you benefits whenever the characters move there or when the characters quest. Winter Camp, for example, will heal our characters in the instance that they're damaged if they quest while they're there. Note, you can move as many characters as you'd like to the location as long as you have the ink to pay for it. Not only this, but your characters can still quest and function as normal like we mentioned while they're at a location. You'll see in the bottom right of the location card that it also has lore pips, like characters do. But instead of questing with these, during the set and ready set draw at the start of every turn, you'll gain a lore equal to the number of lore pips on the location every turn. That's what makes location cards so powerful. Finally, some characters have abilities that you can activate during your turn after their ink is dried. Let's use an example that would go great in this Amethyst Steel deck. The Queen, Jealous Beauty from Arcasia's Island. We'll go ahead and pay 4 ink to play her. The turn the Queen's ink dries, we're able to activate her ability printed on her card by exerting her. She has a powerful ability to put 3 cards from our opponent's discard on the bottom of their deck so we can gain 3 lore. A big tempo swing for us and something that'll get us closer to victory. So we can go ahead and move our lore tracker up to 4. Alright, we've talked about character cards. Now, what about the other card types in Lorcana? Fortunately, we've already gone over location cards and character cards. So let's go ahead and go over item cards next. Item cards are typically iconic artifacts from Disney properties that you can play and use immediately. Let's take a look at one of ours. The Retrosphere card. We see that this card only costs 1, so we'll go ahead and exert 1 ink to play it. The good thing about items is that you don't have to wait for their ink to dry, so we could use its ability immediately if we'd like. All we'd have to do is pay the cost listed on the card, which is 2 more resources, or 2 ink, and banishing the item to return a chosen item, character, or location with cost 3 or less to their owner's hand. We'll go ahead and banish the Retrosphere to use that effect. We can use this on something pesky on our opponent's side of the play area, or we could use it on one of our cards to use their abilities again, or get the damage off of our characters so that we can play them again at full willpower. For example, we could bounce Hey Hey back to our hand, and we'll do that. The next card type is action cards. These cards have one-time effects that you immediately resolve when playing the card. Then it goes to the discard. For example, in our starter deck, we have an action card that costs 2, Magical Maneuvers. This card lets us return a chosen character of our own to our hand so we can exert another character, typically one our opponent controls. If we didn't want one of our characters to get challenged next turn after we've exerted them, like when we use the Queen's ability, we could pay 2 ink, like so, and play Magical Maneuvers to return the Queen to our hand, keeping them safe from our opponent's challenges and effects, while also exerting one of our opponent's cards, like their Queen of Hearts if they still had it on the board, which would then let us challenge them this turn if we wanted. Finally, we have one more card type to go over, my personal favorite, songs. Songs are very similar to action cards, except you can exert your characters to play them without paying any ink at all. Our deck comes with this song card, A Very Merry Unbirthday. We can play this card for 1 ink if we'd like, but we can also exert any of our characters, like Hey Hey, to play it for free. The rule here is that you must exert a character that costs at least as much as the song you're trying to sing. Hey Hey costs 1, A Very Merry Unbirthday costs 1. But when you do that, your resources are saved to play other cards. Since we did that, our opponent would then send the top 2 cards of their deck to their discard in alignment with a Very Merry Unbirthday's ability. That's an alternative win condition in Lorcana. If you're able to mill your opponent out, and they try to draw from an empty deck, they lose and you win. There are a few more rules that are important to go over before you're ready to play, so we'll go ahead and go over them here. Another great way to play characters is by shifting them. Shift is an alternative way to play a character on top of another character with the same name. Let's take this enchanted rarity, Jafar, Striking Illusionist card. You'll note in the top left it has a printed cost of 7. However, if we look at its text box, it has an ability, Shift 5, which means we can instead pay 5 ink to play it on top of another card named Jafar, like so. We just so happen to have a dual ink card, Jafar Newly Crowned, in our deck, so we'll pay that 5 and play our fancy Jafar on top of him, like so. This renders the bottom card blank for play purposes with no effect on the game, but we were able to play our powerful Jafar much sooner. If the card that was shifted onto has had enough time to let its ink dry, the newly played Jafar also enters play with its ink dried, so this ability is a powerful way of getting around that too. The shift ability is a keyword, and there are several others to keep in mind. This Jafar also has the evasive keyword, which means it can't be challenged when it's exerted except by other characters with evasive. There are other keywords in our deck too, such as Vanish on our Giant Cobra card, which means that if it's chosen for an action, it is immediately banished. There are plenty of other keywords in this game too, and they'll always be printed with reminder text next to them so that you'll always know what they do. Keep that in mind when choosing what cards to put in your deck. Generally speaking, we've covered most of what you're going to encounter when sitting down to play your first game. That said, we can't finish a Learn to Play video without showing at least some gameplay. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my coworker Jasmine, and we're going to take 2 starter decks and see who can get to 20 lore first. All right, I'm here with my coworker Jasmine.
Hello.
And we're about to play some Lorcana. We've got some starter decks, we've already shuffled them up, and we've determined who's going first. So let's go ahead and get started. Draw our 7 cards for the turn.
7.
All right, we both have 7. Let's go ahead and put these cards in our hand.
Give me 1 second, I'm struggling.
Oh, you're fine, no issue.
Okay.
Let's see, so I'll be starting us off. I've got a few options. I don't draw a card because I'm going first, but I do have plenty of things that can be inked. We'll go ahead and ink this Royal Guard Bovine Protector. We see that it has the golden ring, so it can be turned into ink, and then I'll go ahead and exert that ink to play Hey Hey, Rambling Rooster. Gotta love him. Best card in the deck. With that, Hey Hey's ink's still drying, so I can't do anything with him. So we'll go ahead and pass the turn to you. So go ahead and draw a card, and then we'll, draw your card first. Ready, set, draw. Start of every turn.
Yep. Alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and ink Unconventional Tool.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use 1 ink to summon Toby, my dogged companion.
It's Toby. Okay.
I got Doggy, so I'm gonna let him start drying off.
Okay.
And I believe I will end my turn there.
Okay, and Toby's got 3 strength and 1 willpower, so he's going to take out pretty much anything I quest with. Okay, that puts me in an interesting situation. So first things first, start of the turn, beginning phase, we'll ready everything, set, and then draw. Okay, interesting. I can't play that card quite yet, but I do have a few options here. To start things off, I'll go ahead and ink this Treasure Guardian, Foreboding Sentry. Does have the ink symbol, so we'll go ahead and put that face down. I now have 2 ink to my name. We'll go ahead and pay 2 for Rajah, Ghostly Tiger. Ink still drying. He's a 3 strength, 3 willpower, Dreamborn ally illusion with Vanish. So if you choose him for any kind of action, he gets banished immediately. And then I think I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and quest for 1 with Hey Hey, putting my lore counter to 1 out of 20. And I think I'm done there. Over to you, Jasmine.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and ready Toby.
Yep, everything's readied
Start
up.
my inkwell. Let me go ahead and draw.
Right.
I will actually go ahead and ink Edgar. I can't say his last name very well.
Edgar, what's that? Balthasar?
Balthazar.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Pretty sure that's
Yeah.
right. He does have the ink symbol, so he's ink, no problem.
Ambitious Butler is gonna be my inkwell now.
All right, so you've got 2.
So I'm gonna go ahead and turn both of these and summon Mr. K, Unruly Knight.
Wow, okay. So he's got 2 lore pips on the bottom right, which means that he can get you... You've got 3 total lore that you can quest for next turn. Interesting. Okay, so Sir K's out.
Yep. And then I actually do want to use Toby.
So now, are you going to challenge Hey Hey, or are you going to quest for a lore?
I will be challenging Hey Hey.
Oh no! Okay, all right. So this is what's happening. So we're gonna go ahead and compare numbers here. So Toby has 3 strength. Hey Hey has 2 strength. 3 from Toby is enough to take out Hey Hey, because Hey Hey only has 2 willpower. And then Hey Hey has 2 strength, which will take out Toby because he only has 1 willpower. So both of these characters will go ahead and be banished to the discard. All right, so we're back to a relatively even board state here. Do you want to do anything else, Jasmine?
I do not. I end my turn.
Okay, sounds good. So Raja is good. We'll restand our ink, and then I'll draw. I'm going to put down Taka Lava Monster as an ink for turn, so we can see that it has the symbol. So that'll be my 3rd ink. Let's see, and then I'll go ahead and exert 1 to play Retrosphere, the item card. This card, I can pay 2 resources and banish it to return a character, item, or location with cost 3 or less to their player's hand. Sir K is kind of scary. Because it's an item, I can use it immediately. I don't have to wait for its ink to dry. So I will go ahead and pay 2 and banish Retrosphere to return Sir K to your hand.
Alrighty.
And then as my last action for the turn, I will go ahead and quest with my newly dried Raja, putting my lore to 2. And then I'll pass the turn over to you, Jasmine.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and ready my inkwell.
Draw a card.
And I doodle.
All right, what do you got?
So I'm gonna go ahead and ink Cybug
Okay,
over here.
that's a 3rd ink for you.
Yes, sir. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use 1 ink
All right.
and play the unconventional tool.
Okay, you had inked one of those too earlier, I think.
I have.
Okay.
So when this item is banished, you pay 2 less for the next item you play this turn.
Okay, so when an effect banishes the unconventional tool, you'll get a reduction. Okay, so I figure that deck somehow has a way of banishing it. I would imagine so.
I do.
Okay, okay.
At some point.
For sure. I mean, having an item, a utility item out is always a good thing. So,
Oh, yeah.
good call.
And then I will use 2 again and resummon Sir K.
They're back. All right.
I had to bring him back somehow.
For sure, for sure. It's, I mean, a 2/2 with 2 lore on 2 resources just seems really good. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to do?
Nope, I end my turn.
Okay. We'll go ahead and ready, set, draw. Okay. Let's see what I can do here. So we're moving on to what should be the 4 ink turn. I think I'll go ahead and ink this Hey Hey. It's a different Hey Hey than before. We're going to go ahead and turn him into ink.
Oh,
It's okay. He'll still be useful.
bye, Hey Hey.
It's fine. And then I'll go ahead and use 4 of this ink, all of my ink that I have available, for Treasure Guardian, Foreboding Sentry. And then the Treasure Guardian has a triggered ability. When you play this character, if you have an illusion character in play, you may draw a card. Raja is an illusion character, as noted next to its ink color in its text box. So I will go ahead and draw a card resolving the triggered ability. From there, I think I'll go ahead and quest for 1, putting me at 3, and then we'll pass to you.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna go ahead and ready Sir Kay.
Right.
And all the ink I have. And then we're gonna doodle.
As you do.
Okay, this changes how I was gonna do things a little differently. I am gonna go ahead and ink another Cybug.
All right, another Cybug in the ink row.
And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and use 3 of the ink to summon Belle, the apprentice inventor.
Okay, okay.
So during this turn, I may banish a chosen item of mine in play to play this character for free. Wait, whoops, I didn't read that.
Oh, so what you can do is you can just back that up.
I will back that
those
up.
resources just like that and
Yep.
banish this.
Yep.
So therefore, Belle comes in for free. You get that banished, and now you have a cost reduction from this item getting banished. That's a really
Yes.
powerful play.
So that means, let's see, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6.
So you could play an item that costs up to 6 this turn.
Yep. And so I didn't math this right, but I didn't hit math it right, but it's okay. So I'm
Let me
going to
see
use
it.
4.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to bring in the Stabbington brother.
Okay. I mean, it's not an item, but it is a big dude. What they have the rush keyword. Could you go ahead and
Yep.
read what that does?
So Rush, this character can challenge the turn they're played.
Okay. Okay. That seems pretty good.
So with that being said, I do want to challenge.
Okay, so you're going to take out my Raja?
Yes, sir.
All right, so when we challenge, we'll go ahead and deal 3 to each because they both have 3 strength, but that is enough to take out my Raja. So Raja will go to the discard. And 3 damage goes on the Stabbington brother. What a name.
It is a crazy name, but
Okay,
works out. All right.
so I thought I was doing pretty good, but now things have definitely taken a turn. So they're up. Sir Kay, his ink has dried, right?
Yes, so Sir Kay's ink is dried, so I'm actually going to quest with him for 2.
So you'll go ahead and gain 2 lore.
And I end my turn.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and ready, set, draw. First things first, I'll challenge Sir Kay. So Sir Kay will take 3 damage and get banished, and 2 will go on Treasure Guardian. I'll pay 1 to play Pain, Impudent Imp. I'll ink King Hubert for turn.
Okay.
And then I'll pay 4 for Iago. Giant Spectral Parrot. He's got Evasive, which is a keyword that says that he can only be challenged by other characters with Evasive, and Vanish. When you choose him for an action with one of your abilities, he immediately gets banished. That's all of my resources, though, so I'll go ahead and pass the turn over to you, Jasmine.
All right. Let me go ahead and reading him and her and all the ink I had. I'll make it easier to see that I have 4. Gonna go ahead and draw. Okay.
All right, what do you got for me? Okay.
I will have these 3. Use 3 ink to summon Cogsworth.
Okay.
And so while I have an item card in my discard, this character gets +2.
+2, that's strength, isn't it?
Strength, yep.
Wow, okay.
And so I currently have at the very least one item card.
Right, because you banished that last turn to play Bell, which means that Cogsworth is now going to hit for 5. That's pretty good.
I was excited for that one. It changed whatever I was gonna do, so it works out very well for me.
Right.
I don't like how many people you're about to have next turn, so
Right.
I'm actually gonna have the Stabbington brother challenge treasure.
This is a Treasure Guardian.
Guardian?
Yeah, that challenge
Yeah.
will lead to a trade because you have 3 damage on him, but that
Yep.
will get rid of both of them.
I will be challenging him.
No problem. They are both banished. All right.
With that leaves Belle. I'm actually going to quest with her.
Okay, and that puts you at 3 lore, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, great.
And I end my turn.
Okay, I will ready, set, and draw. Okay, so we'll start off with double questing, get 2 lore out of that. We'll then go ahead and pay 2, pay 2 for Arthur. He's a 2/2 with 2 pips. Then pay 2 more for another Rajah. He's back.
Oh.
But now I have no cards in my hand, so this is what I've got. Pass to you.
Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and ready Belle and Cogsworth right now, along with my Inkwell.
Right.
Still have 4. And I will draw.
What do you got? Come on. Let me see it.
I don't know if I like that or not. Like, I want to move forward with stuff I was gonna do, but I kind of just wanted to have fun.
Do it.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and do 3 again and put out the second Cogsworth
It's
that I
another
just drew.
one. Let's go. Okay, cool. So you just have 2 giant dudes that are going to kill at least Pain. He is evasive, so he's good for now. But Pain is probably not going to be long for this world.
Yeah, sadly, I am being very aggressive today, and I will challenge Pain.
Well, that works really well for you because you're only going to take 1 damage back, and Pain is definitely gone.
Hiya.
It's probably a good thing that Pain is gone. Okay,
No
so
more Pain, but
he's
I will
gone.
quest with Belle again.
Okay, so you'll go up to 4 lore. And then anything else?
And I end my turn.
Okay, cool. All right. Ready, set, and draw. Okay. Here's what I think I do. I'm gonna keep this in my hand. I'm not gonna ink it. And I'm just gonna put us on a race. I'm gonna quest for 4. And pass to you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and ready all 3 of them with all the ink. And I will draw a new card.
All right, let's see it. What do you got for me? Oh, you can challenge all of them.
Huh.
Oh, I guess you can challenge these 2. Not yet.
Yeah.
Yago, not yet. I'm sure there's something that'll get you there.
I hope I find something. I would need another evasive. All right, so I actually like this character too much to ink her.
Play it.
This is going to be my downfall because I don't have enough ink, but I do want to play Marie,
Okay.
my favorite kitten. So whenever this character quests, you may give chosen character -2 attack this turn.
Ooh, now that is dangerous because if you choose either of my guys here, because of the vanish keyword, they will be banished immediately. So that, theoretically, could be really powerful.
Let's go! I love Marie. But along with that,
You do have some decisions here.
I do have a lot of decisions. So what I'm going to do is I already know Cogsworth has already taken a little bit of damage. I'm actually going to use him to attack Rajah.
Okay, so because of his buff, well, even without his buff,
Yeah, but-
this will be a trade.
Yes.
So both of them will get banished. They're both gone.
But along with that, I also don't like how Arthur can quest for 2.
It is pretty nice.
So, with that being said, I will I will challenge Arthur.
Right. So
And that will
Arthur's gone, but 2 damage goes on there.
2 damage on me. And then I will go ahead and quest Belle again.
Okay, sounds good. So that puts you at 5 to my 9.
Yep.
Okay.
And with that, I end my turn.
Sounds good. I will go ahead and ready everything. Set, draw. Okay, let's see. Man, okay. This is going to be difficult. I think instead of questing, Iago's got a really good stat line, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose him next turn. So what I need to do is I need to make some more progress on getting this board state to be more equal. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to actually challenge with Iago. I'm going to challenge Cogsworth, which should be enough to take him out. And Iago's going to take plenty of damage. 5 total. But he'll still be alive because he has 6 willpower.
I'll somehow get Iago one of these days.
Well, next turn you should be able to. That's why I'm doing it with Marie.
Can Marie?
Because Marie can choose him to lose his power, and because he has Vanish, he'll immediately go away.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm not going to play anything. I'm going to hold the cards that I have in my hand, and I'll pass to you.
Okay. Well, I guess I will go ahead and ready both of these. And I will doodle.
As you do.
All right, I have not inked in a while, so I will ink Gayton.
I'm not even going to try. I just know that card's going to become
mole.
a resource.
Yep,
yeah,
the
no
mole
problem.
is going down into my ink well.
You now have 5 resources. Sounds good.
I do have 5 resources. So with that, what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and quest with Marie.
Okay.
And of course, that -2 damage will go to Iago.
And Iago, because he has Vanish, is immediately defeated. That's one of the key words in this game. So Iago is now banished, and you gain 2 lore, so you're at 7.
And then I am also going to quest with Belle, so that will lead to 8.
Okay, you're catching up to me here.
Slowly but surely.
You gonna play anything?
No, I will not.
Okay, sounds good. My turn?
Yes, sir.
All right, ready, set, draw. Okay. Huh. All right, things are getting a little challenging here. We're gonna try to rebuild our board a little bit. I'm gonna pay 3 to play Jafar, Aspiring Ruler. When you play this character, chosen character gains Challenger +2 for this turn. They get +2 willpower while challenging. It's not optional, so we'll give that one. I'm not going to challenge, so that Belle now has a buff that won't matter. Then we're going to pay 2 more ink to play Razul, Menacing Guard. When you play this character, if you have a character named Jafar in play, you may banish chosen item. There's no item to banish, so I'm just playing 2 guys to make sure that I have people that I can quest with and challenge with next turn. I'll go ahead and pass the turn to you, Jasmine.
Alrighty. So I'm going to ready my 2 ladies over here.
Okay.
And I draw. So again, I'm going to ink the mole.
All right, very nice. You're at 6.
Yes, sir. So with that, I finally reached something I've been wanting to do for a little bit.
Okay, let me have it.
I am going to shift with Belle.
Oh my goodness.
So
it's the card from the cover.
Yes, I was so excited to play her. So for each item card in my discard, you pay 1 less to play this character using her shift ability. And we did use an item back then somewhere in here.
Right, so you can shift for 6.
Yes. So I am going to shift for 6.
So now Belle is going to go stacked on top of the other Belle, like so. All right, and so you reduce her cost, and what else does she do?
So whenever this character quests, you may put up to 3 item cards from your discard on the bottom of your deck to gain 1 lore for each item card moved this way.
That seems pretty good.
Yep. So with that being said, I will quest with Belle.
Yep, because Belle originally below had their ink dried already, the new Belle enters with their ink dried, which is incredibly powerful.
It is really nice. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab the item card and put that at the bottom of my deck.
So with one card, with one move, you're able to get 4 lore off of that because you're returning the item. So 3 lore from Belle's inherent ability and the item going back. So you go to 12, right?
Yes, sir. And along with that, I will also quest with Marie.
Seems pretty good. So that'll bump you up to 14.
14. And yeah, so whenever she quests, I can give a chosen character -2.
Okay. Yeah, you can do that if
It
you want.
will go straight to Jafar.
All right. Jafar has -2 strength.
He scares me just a little bit.
Okay. And that's for the turn, right?
Yep.
Okay,
That
sounds
ends
good.
my turn.
All right. So things are looking a little dire for me. I will go ahead and restand these resources, draw a card, think about my life choices. I'm not stopping this, but I can stop this. So I will go ahead and challenge here.
All right.
I'll challenge Marie. So I'll take 1 back, you'll take 3 back, and Marie will be banished. I'm very
poor
sorry.
baby.
I can't do anything about that. And then I guess I'll quest for 1. At this point, I'm pretty sure this Belle is going to be the thing that gets the game for you. I don't know that I can interact with that, but we'll see what happens. Go ahead, pass turn.
Alrighty, so I will go ahead, ready my bell. I do still have 6 ink,
Right.
and I doodle. I pulled 2.
Okay.
I haven't seen the bottom card. Should I just put
Just
it
set
back?
it right on top, no problem.
Okay, I saw nothing.
Yeah, we saw nothing, guys. It's okay.
But it's okay. This card I wasn't going to play anyway as much as I want to play it. I will use all 6 ink, though, to summon the beast.
Beauty and the Beast. All right, here we go.
I had to put them together. So I can banish 2 of my items to deal 5 damage to a chosen character. However, I have no items.
No items. That's
So
okay. You still have Belle.
He will be here. It's okay.
So pretty much, you're going to quest, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's going to quest for 3 up to 17. And unless I draw a card that can stop these guys from questing, you're going to win this game.
Let's go.
Anything else you want to do?
I actually will end my turn.
Okay.
That's as far as I can get right now.
Ready, set, draw. That's not going to do it. Good game, Jasmine.
Pleasure playing with you.
All right, it's time for a little outro. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this Lorcana Learn to Play video. I hope you learned something. If you're interested in getting started with Lorcana, go ahead and head to cardshq.com where you can buy not only these starter decks, but tons of other Lorcana products and accessories. Thank you very much, and we'll see you in the next one.